Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to pivot a little bit from the discussion I had last week on the channel where I talked about how I started collecting manga, and here's some of the things, I learned along the way, some tips and tricks here and there. I want to talk about the collector's mindset from the movie perspective because it's something that is my primary hobby as far as collecting physical movies. So I want to talk about the mistakes I've made along the way and what I've learned and just kind of focus on it for specifically the hobby of collecting movies. I got three tips I'm going to give you here are just things to address or keep in mind, I guess, when you're focusing on collecting movies. So let's get ready. Let's jump in. So as I mentioned, there's three kind of main topics I want to talk about in this video. Some of them are going to kind of relate to what I was talking about in my previous one, where I kicked off kind of talking about my new hobby of collecting manga. So for this video specifically, I want to talk about building the collection, and then too many too fast, so maybe buying to your taste kind of thing, and then also the digital versus physical kind of dilemma as well. So first things first, building the collection. And what I mean by that is just building the collection, buying without experiencing the movies. Maybe you're someone who is just looking to build a collection and experience it like later down the line. Everyone's going to have a different situation here and there. But I think for the majority of us out there, we're collecting these movies because we love these movies and we want to experience these movies. So one of the mistakes I find myself falling prey to once in a while is just building the collection and not experiencing it. Now, I think there are exceptions to this. Like I said, if your intention is to build and then experience later, or in my case, where I may do that unintentionally, or in this season currently where I'm at, I'm kind of doing it intentionally. I just had my second kid not too long ago. He's a couple months old now, and so we have two kids now. Life is busy. My wife's home for the summer, so we're out and about. We're doing activities. We're out in the yard. We're going here. We're going there. Vacations, trips, all that kind of stuff. Family and friends. So I don't have as much time as I typically would when it's just me home with the kids, and I can watch movies during their nap time and stuff. So for me, I'm in a season where I'm just kind of building the collection. Now, I'm not going out and buying, a ton of movies. It's all dependent on your budget, which is probably a sub point for all of these different points here. But I'm mostly just buying movies for my collection for the stuff that I'm picking up. I'm not going and watching them. I'm showing them off in the halls and stuff here and there, but I may not have had a chance to watch it not long after picking it up. So I'm trying to still be intentional about, as much as I can, the movies that I am picking up, watching them within a reasonable amount of time. But sometimes that's not always the case, depending on what your goals are for your collection or the season of life that you're in. So for me, the movies that I am picking up, I'm trying to pick up ones that are more like I've been talking about in my recent videos of my haul videos, picking up more Disney stuff for my collection, because I decided I do want to pick up more Disney stuff than I've previously done with the access to Disney Plus and all. So I'm picking up more Disney movies for the collection, and those are ones that my kids, being very young, would be able to watch. So I'm trying to focus on, I'm not watching a ton of movies right now, but the ones I am picking up, aside from, a few day one releases here and there and stuff that you just find a good deal on, stuff that we can watch together as a family during this season. So I think it's just important to remember that, yes, it is fun to build a collection, be able to pick up releases, some collector's editions, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, all that kind of stuff. Don't forget to experience the movies you're adding to your collection as well. Sometimes I find myself guilty of picking up a lot of stuff that I want to have in my collection and do have an intention of watching, but just being disciplined with, watching a fair share at least of the movies that I'm picking up for my collection as well. So that pretty much wraps up that point of the collector's dilemma of building that collection. The next dilemma is a bit of a pivot on the previous one and was too many, too fast, just kind of overwhelming yourself with movies you're adding to your collection. Maybe you are someone who has a lot of free time and you can experience and watch a lot of the movies that you're picking up, but you might be going too many, too fast or outside of your taste. If you're in a building the collection mindset, you might be picking up more stuff outside of what you would normally want to have. Now, maybe you're using this as an opportunity to expand your interest in the types of movies you would watch and experience, which is fine. Like I said, everyone has kind of their own reasons for collecting and the different types of things they want to collect and the different purposes and goals behind it. But I think it's important to remember not to go too fast with stuff. Sometimes I've found myself guilty of grabbing stuff just because it's the sake of a good deal. And then, you're stuck with 10 movies, which you might have some intention of watching, but then you maybe did check it out and you might regret it. And maybe it's something that's still fine. You can go ahead and trade it in, go sell it, get a little bit of your money back here and there somewhere else. So, everything is kind of situational and circumstantial here with these points, but they're ones I still wanted to make because I do think it's important to not go too fast with building. I take advantage of the different seasons you're in throughout your life. I know for me personally, I took advantage of the time during COVID where we just weren't going out and about and doing a lot to upgrade a lot of my DVDs to Blu-rays. I wasn't going and watching a ton of them, but they were ones that whenever I was out and about and I saw a chance to be able to make an upgrade for a pretty decent or inexpensive price, that was worth it to me. I wasn't going, too crazy, too fast, but anytime I was out and about and I saw something like that, I would do it. So, you're going to be in situations here and there where you might be buying a collection off of somebody or some marketplace haul or bundle or something like that, and that's totally fine. Just make sure you keep in mind, at least I try to remind myself personally, not to go crazy picking up so many things that you didn't necessarily need to get them all right away. There's stuff that you could have spread out a little bit more here and there. And then finally, we have amongst the collector's dilemma, the digital versus physical. I feel like primarily if you're someone who collects movies, you're probably collecting the physical editions, but there are plenty of people out there who collect digital as well, or a hybrid of the two. I'm definitely someone who's a hybrid of the two, though I primarily lean on the physical side. I more rely on the digital as just a convenient backup to stream the movie if the situation should arise, but it's definitely one to still consider. If you're wanting to go into collecting movies, in some cases, it might make more sense to do it digitally because there's a lot of sales on like iTunes and Movies Anywhere and stuff like that. You can oftentimes get bundle deals to get movies pretty cheap. So, as much as you run into that on the physical side of things, if you're doing that, you're probably looking for like collector's editions, special edition packaging. You might be going after the slipcover as well, that kind of stuff. So depending on what you're looking to get out of the collection experience, you might decide to go a digital versus a physical route. If you're going for the highest quality and the quality packaging and all that, you're going to get the best experience on a disc at the higher bit rates compared to streaming services, and you can get some cool, unique, original packaging to go along with some of your favorite films here and there with the steel books, different boutique label box sets, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different things out there. I feel like for me personally, it comes down to these kind of three dilemmas that I'm going up against as far as what I think about when I'm collecting movies. So I would love to hear some kind of tips and tricks, as well as some maybe dilemmas that you deal with on a regular basis when you're collecting movies for your collection, no matter if you're doing it physically or you're doing it digitally. I'd love to hear some tips, tricks, and recommendations for you to share for myself and any other viewers out there who want to check them out. So thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I will see you in the next one.